Fellas, it's been some on my mind, man. Actually, LeBron's mind for a while. Ring culture. He's talked about it for a while. I think it's the idea that a player's greatness is only validated by how many rings they win. Should a player's legacy be attached to how many rings they win or not? What are your thoughts?
I believe the legacy shouldn't be attached to it, but if you that dude, you need to win one, or you got to dominate, you got to do something crazy in that league where I don't know, LeBron brought up Charles, LeBron brought up Dan Marino. Charles was that guy. Dan Marino, everybody knew he was spinning that thing, leading the league in passing. Like, you know if a dude is dominating a sport, it's almost like dynasties where it's a team or a player that dominates a year span or so many year span. What's that year span? You know if a dude is that dude. So Charles gets respect. I know he brought up Peyton. I know he brought up AI. But you know if a guy was dominating a sport minus the rings, and then you know now I can compare him to the other guys. I think LeBron's problem is that he always gets compared to Jordan, and that's why he always brings up the ring thing, because now LeBron's on the back end, and that's what they want to do. They're both dominant players, but they want to bring up the ring. I think the ring conversation is very, very relevant, because if you that guy, you should go and be the best player in the world that brings your team to be the best team in the world.
LeBron James doesn't have a problem with ring culture. He has a problem with more rings culture, because LeBron has curated his career around ring culture. Because if he didn't, LeBron James never goes to South Beach. He went to South Beach because he understood that as individually dominant as he was nothing without those rings. And what's funny also, too, about LeBron is the fact that he's talking about the accumulation of something when that's the exact argument that all of his fans, all of the people that say he is the greatest, use. His accumulation of points over a certain amount of time, accumulation of assists, accumulation of rebounds. The reason he's pointing out the more rings culture is because he hasn't accumulated more rings than the person that he's chasing. And so if I can get out and debunk the fact that it's about how many rings you get as long as you have one, or if I can get out and debunk the fact that we're not having a conversation about how much you elevated your team in the most important moment, just about how good you were, right? Because when you bring up Barry Bonds, it's like, let's not think about whether or not he won a championship. Let's say he was the greatest ever, which all baseball players agree to, right? Like he brought up Dan Marino. Yeah, we know Dan Marino could spin it, but Dan Marino never lifted his team to a championship, so we speak about him differently than we talk about Tom Brady. And let's not forget that part of greatness is showing up in the most important moments. The most important moments are playoffs and championships. And that is the reason that you get to be, whether it's in the top 5 or a top 3 or a top 2, or you get to be the GOAT, is because in the most important moment, as individually great as you were that great or better when it counted most. And so LeBron James is extremely intelligent. He knows that if now he comes out and says, hey, it's not about how many rings you accumulate, it's about how you played individually. Now, all of his fans, his people that say he's the GOAT can point to those numbers as long as you don't point to the amount of rings that somebody won, because that's the conversation or argument that he can't win. And I think for him, right, it's hypocritical, because you shaped your career early on around winning championships because you knew championships could make you the GOAT. You even said, when I came back 3-1 against the Warriors, that made me the GOAT because I won that championship. Now, all of a sudden, because maybe there's a fear you won't win another one, championships or amount of championships don't matter. 2
people, 2 sports I want to bring up that have multiple championships. Terry Bradshaw, your Steelers, what does Terry got?
4. No in the 70s.
No one speaks about him as being one of the best quarterbacks of all time. And Robert Ory.
6.
What does Robert have?
6.
6. Nobody speaks about him of being the best basketball player ever because of his numbers of rings. It's when you go to that level, Bron, that now you get talked about with the greatest. Now we need to start seeing what you accomplished in your career, kind of what you said. It's not ring counting. Now you're adding on to already great legacies, and that's what people speak
And this
about.
100%, it's, hey, all of you are great, let's find the greatest.
GOAT.
Yeah, I think, and I can't defend LeBron, mention that.
What?
I can't defend it. I mean, it's so multi-layered, though. It's one of those conversations that is never ending. The GOAT conversation, never ending. It's a biased conversation. You can go and say, is it rings? Is it the amount of rings, right? Is it, what is it? Is it numbers? He has the greatest numbers. Does that make him the GOAT? Like, he doesn't have the most rings. If it's rings, we could talk about Bill Russell. So what's the conversation, and why is the conversation so relevant? It's sort of a irrelevant thing, but it's a great debate, right? But it's kind of irrelevant in a sense, because that conversation is just going and it's dry, and it's, unless you just love sports, it's something for you to always come back to. It's tricky, but he did move the goalpost. Right? He said championships are a team sport. In basketball, you narrow it down a little bit more, because it takes two guys to elevate you to greatness, and you got to have some chemistry. Football is totally different, right? There's 53 guys on the team, 11 on each side, then you throw in special teams. That's a whole entirely different conversation when it comes to football. But if you do have a great quarterback, a Tom Brady, a Patrick Mahomes, they give you a closer or better opportunity to attaining that. But yeah, I really can't defend LeBron's comments, because you said it. It comes across as hypocritical because of the actions that have followed him throughout his career. And I don't even know why it's even an important conversation.
Because LeBron James has a level of insecurity with people believing about him what he wants them to believe about him. That conversation was purely about the GOAT and his claim to it, and what he feels may keep him from having a claim to it.
So it goes back to validation.
LeBron James is chasing a ghost. He's never gonna catch Jordan. He can't. He won't do it. It's eye test. He's never gonna do it.